All right, cool. All right, with that, I'm going to admit the next folks.
Perfect.
We'll get started. Hello, welcome, welcome. We have back-to-back sessions today, so pardon us for being a minute behind schedule. We'll just give folks a minute to get logged on.
Sure.
Happy day, happy Thursday. Cannot believe that this is the final session in this virtual colloquium. It has been an incredible journey. If any of you have missed the previous sessions from earlier this week, we do have those recorded. And if you registered, you'll be able to access, obviously you all have, so you'll be able to access those when we send them out next week. So I'm going to get started in just one more minute. Okay. All right, so welcome. A few of you have been in these sessions previously. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself again. I am Rachel Samuelson, Director of Digital Content and Community Engagement for Leadership Trainer. We are a nonprofit organization that provides exceptional train the trainer leadership training programs and resources. We have many different programs, free downloadable resources, and we have certification programs coming up in June if you want to become a master trainer and take your leadership training to that next level. This program, without further ado, I'd like to get started and welcome our final presenter of the series, Annalyn Cruz. And Annalyn Cruz is a leadership and empowerment coach, seasoned facilitator, and storyteller. She has 20 plus years of experience working in a variety of settings, corporate, higher ed, and nonprofit sectors, where she empowers women and BIPOC leaders to go after their career freedom and the lives they truly crave. She's the CEO and founder of Grounded in Wisdom LLC, and with her career, she has focused on leadership and manager development, employee engagement, talent development, and DEI initiatives, programs, and strategies. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Annalyn, and excited to go on this journey.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. And thank you all for being here today in my session. And for those of you who are also joining in on the recording, I feel really honored and privileged to be here with all of you today. So as Rachel mentioned, my name is Annalyn Cruz. You could see all of my titles there. I am the founder and CEO of my company, Grounded in Wisdom, and you'll learn a little bit more about that in just a bit. So before we kick off, I would love it if you can turn on your camera for those of you that are available. And if not, all good. But before we get started, let's go ahead and just kick off with a heart emoji. Can I get a heart emoji up in there? Let's go ahead. Yes, heart emoji. If you want to do the thumbs up or the party one, all good. So let's go ahead and kick off. So for 5 years, I had what others would label as having an amazing job, right? I was treated well. I got paid the most money in my career up until that point. I had an awesome boss and a team that I loved, and I was making positive impact in those that I served. And I did everything right. I got the promotion, worked really hard, was often told that there was a leadership path available for me. And yet I couldn't help but feel like something was missing out of my day-to-day. And some people would have said, oh, Annalyn conquered the American dream, right? She has the career that many of us want, but yet I still woke up every morning unsatisfied. And I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. So, my inner critic, also known as my gremlin, was telling me that I should be grateful for all that I had, right? And to just stick with what I knew and what was comfortable. And yet there was this deep pit in my stomach that longed for something more and something different. And no matter what the money was or what opportunities came my way, it still wasn't enough. And I felt trapped by the golden handcuffs that I felt like I placed upon myself. And I remember the day that I decided to officially leave my job. It was June 1st, 2021. I was driving on the 5 freeway in LA after visiting my family, and I was coming back up to Oakland in the Bay Area to come back home. And I found myself recalling the conversation I had with my manager just a week prior. And we were talking about my goals for the following year, talking about my compensation package. And it just felt so disingenuous to continue to stay. And that drive was a wake-up call to me, because I knew that I needed to resign and I needed to honor my truth, which was I want to work for myself, I want to open up my own business and create the content and experiences and serve the communities that I really wanted to. And once I did that, I felt like my soul took a huge sigh of relief. And no longer was I having to hold on to this secret that had honestly been bubbling up for years at that point. So I'm grateful now to be able to serve women and BIPOC leaders through coaching and leadership development experiences that I get to create, and that I get to, have total creative ownership, right? And I have the honor and privilege to hold space and work with folks who inspire me each and every single day. And my clients are those who are longing for that career freedom, right? And want to step into the leader that I already know that they are. And I'm grateful to do this on my own terms and build a legacy for myself and for my loved ones, to support the communities that I'm a part of, but also to support those who are making a difference in this world. So now I get to create those opportunities and create that space for folks to really go after awe-inspiring, amazing and fulfilling lives. And I'm truly fortunate to now live the life that I've always craved as well. So here's my promise to you today. I'm going to give you everything I can, look at the time, in the next 20 minutes, right? And there will be some of you who may want to dive in a bit deeper. And if that speaks to you, I have a special gift for you at the end. So here's what we're going to cover. A little sneak peek here. I'm going to give you a sneak peek on how to recognize and start identifying your inner critic, who I will refer to in this presentation as your gremlin, and how that could steal some of that joy within your life. And I'll share a proven framework with you all that will help you uncover where your gremlins may stem from and how you could actually flip the script on it, right? And tap into your inner wisdom instead. So as a result, you'll walk away with more clarity and, be able to identify what's preventing you from living your best life, because that's all what we want to do, right? We want to live our best life. So whether you have moments of self-doubt at work or other parts of your life, you want something different, more, better. Maybe you have a career goal that you just don't think is possible, or even taking a look at other parts of your life, right? The other dimensions that make up who you are and what you want out of this lifetime. Maybe you feel a little bit burned out and don't even know where to start. Hopefully this talk will get you one step closer, right, in going after the life that you truly crave. So if you are ready to dive in, I want everyone to go off mute at this moment. So go ahead and unmute yourselves. And when I count to 3, I want you all to say, I'm ready. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Yes, I love it. All right. So we're going to take that deeper dive into how you can identify that life goal or the dream that you have for yourself and just feel more confident and more empowered, right, about your decision making and your path moving forward. So I want you to leave those self-doubts behind. I want you to step into the leader that I already know that you are and tap into your inner wisdom so that you can live a life that's more authentic and that you can create the life that you deserve. Okay. So I'm going to fill you in on part of Grounded in Wisdom's philosophy and framework. And in a moment, I'm going to share some real life stories of those who have walked this path before. And here's a fun part. As you have probably already guessed, that we're going to do a little bit of call and response. So at the end of each story, I want you to say out loud, and again, feel free to go off mute. If this fill in the blank, if this amazing woman could do it, I could do it too. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So first, I want to introduce you to Tina. So when I first started coaching Tina, she was considering stepping into an elevated leadership role at a huge global entertainment company, right? So she's a part of the diversity and equity and inclusion team. And she was thinking about stepping into the role of chief of staff and consultant. And her gremlin was speaking pretty loudly because it was telling her that maybe I'm not ready, maybe you're not ready for this big leap in your career. And maybe she should just stick to what she knew, right? Just keeping on with the same job that she had had for the past 3 years because she was successful at that. So at the same time, she also wanted to remain authentic to who she was. And she had this fear that, would she be able to maintain her authenticity in communicating her viewpoints, right? And being able to manage up to her leadership team. And also dig in deep into who she was and how she grew up, in terms of her cultural, gender, all sorts of different identities that she was bringing to the table. And she wanted to be really intentional about how she was going to go about doing this, right? So maintaining her authenticity was a huge part of her leadership journey and finding the confidence within herself to step into the leader that I already knew that she was, right? So I'm happy to report that Tina is now the chief of staff and a consultant for this large global-wide company. And she is kicking ass in this space. So guess what? If Tina could do it, you could do it too, right? So let me hear you. If Tina could do it,
you can do it too.
I can do it too. Yes, yes. All right. So when I first met Sophia, she was feeling disconnected from the work that she was doing and wanted to do a complete career change, right? And she really wanted to focus in on user experience research. And her gremlin was telling her that she'd never worked in corporate before, and why would they ever hire her out of anyone else that's there, right? And she also revealed to me that her unhappiness was feeling disconnected from her authentic self, meaning, she couldn't be her full self at her current job for a bunch of various reasons, right? And it didn't allow her to emphasize the parts of herself that she actually loved. She felt like she had to hide this from her current coworkers and her boss. And in working with her, we recognized how painful that is, right? To have to hide parts of who you are in order to feel like you had to fit in, right? So she recognized that she needed to connect back to who she was, recognize her strengths, her superpowers, her work history, and what she brings to the table in order to then show up as her full self in these job interview processes, right? And so she's finished the final round of some pretty major interviews, and now she is, interviewing with a huge global tech company and is moving towards a career and the life that she truly craves. So if Sophia could do it, you could do it too, right? And finally, I want to introduce you to Lisa. And she was at a point in her career where she wanted more time freedom, she wanted more flexibility, and to focus in on her small business and her passion for art. And she wanted to live in a life that had more flow and alignment with where she was at that point. But her gremlin was asking her why she would leave a job, a steady paying job with great benefits and great retirement, etc., and to just stick with what she knew. And in fact, there were people in her life telling her, don't do it. Why would you leave something that's so comfortable and steady, right? And we all know that change is hard. But she wanted to continue to pursue, to create the life that she wanted and that she deserved. And so she had enough time and money, right, to live comfortably and make this huge decision. And because of this new time freedom, she was actually able to spend more time and spend some loving care with her mom in her last days. She wouldn't have been able to have done that if she didn't choose to create the life that she wanted. And it was Lisa's commitment to the power of her own creativity, right, in creating the life that she 100% owned and allowed her creative genius to come through, right? And even though her colleagues, people in her life didn't understand her path forward, she was still committed to it. And she stayed true to her inner wisdom instead. So if Lisa could do it, you could do it too, right? So what do all of these amazing and powerful women have in common? They all had their own version of their own inner gremlins, right? That were holding them back from really accessing, their own inner wisdom and the lives that they really wanted to create for themselves. So I have a question to ask all of you, which is, what's a dream that you have for yourself? And I can guarantee that each and every single one of you have a dream or a life goal that you have. Maybe you haven't even said it out loud to anyone. And I want you to grab a piece of paper or text yourself on your phone, and I want you to write this down. And I would also suggest try to suspend any judgment you have around it. Maybe your gremlins might be kicking in, but you could just tell them, I see you, but I don't need to hear you right now. Okay. And once you're done with that, go ahead and give me a thumbs up emoji on Zoom. Rachel, I like the actual thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate that. Again, what is a life goal or dream that you have for yourself? So now I want you to start thinking about some of the fears that come up for you in regards to this dream, right? So I mentioned that maybe one or several of your gremlins may be coming through. I used to have a busload of gremlins that would come often into my space, and my own coach that I worked with a few years back would say, like, let's send them over to long-term airport parking. They don't need to be in this conversation right now, right? So our gremlins, just so you all know, often like to keep us safe or tell us to stay with what we know. And because change can feel very scary, especially in some of the times that we're living in, sometimes our gremlins get so loud that they drown out our own intuition and inner wisdom. So I want to ask you all some powerful questions as it relates to your dream. How can we be our own superheroes? And how do we call upon those we admire, whether we've met them in real life or maybe they're no longer with us in this, they're no longer living in the same form, but we've admired them from afar. What would folks like that tell you about your dream? And how do we reach out to those in our inner circle, and also known what I have deemed like my hype crew, right? How do we reach out to those that we trust the most and who could encourage us and champion us and allow us to keep dreaming and pursuing what we really want in this life? And these are just some of the amazing, beautiful women that have championed me, right? When I was doubting myself and what I was capable of and opening my own business, I didn't have any clue of what it took or what it entailed. And every single one of these women championed me and kept me going. The last question I have for you all is, who does your younger self need you to be in this moment as you think about this life goal? So when your gremlins start telling you that you're not deserving of living your best, authentic, connected, and creative life, when they start coming through, who does your younger self need you to be in this moment? So here's the work within and the framework that I had mentioned earlier to help you when your gremlins start showing through and when they start taking over your thought process. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through a personal example that I went through that helped me a lot in accessing my own inner wisdom. So as I was trying to figure out whether I was going to quit my corporate job or not, the message that came loud and clear over and over again was, why are you leaving a good paying job? Just be happy with where you are, right? Just don't rock the boat. And when I started digging into this message and really starting to reflect within myself of, where did this come from? Like, is this really what I think? And after many sessions of therapy and coaching, I realized that this originated from my dad. And not that I want to blame him completely for this, right? It makes sense. He was an immigrant from the Philippines, had the same job for 40 plus years once he immigrated to the US. And I know that he was worried about, my basic needs, making sure that I was set for the rest of my life. So why would I ever leave something that was steady? So why this was showing up? I know that he was worried about my stability and making sure my basic needs were taken care of. And so was I, right? I started internalizing all of these messages, and it scared the crap out of me of not wanting to make a decision and move forward with what my life dream was really calling to me. And it wasn't until I got quiet, when I started meditating, when I started journaling and really thinking through, how can I flip the script on this, right? Because my gremlins messages were not serving me. In fact, they were making me really unhappy, and they just became louder and louder, and I needed to find a way to quiet them down. So when I got to that place, I was finally able to access that inner wisdom, right? Of knowing deep within my gut and my soul that I knew that there was something better out there. I knew I could be more fulfilled and that I could use my values and live them every day of creativity and freedom and autonomy. And looking back in my own leadership journey, I knew that I had the entrepreneurial spirit of what it took to be successful. And guess what? I'm still learning every day. I don't have this, tied up in a nice little bow, but I know that I have the spirit to keep moving forward. So I would encourage you all after this session, while it's still top of mind, to write down the headers on this chart. And I want you to really think through your own life dream that you wrote down, and think about some of the gremlins messages or the fears that may be arising within you as you think about it. And I'd love for you to just go through this chart, because it will help you to, again, access that inner wisdom that often is overshadowed by our gremlins. So we're about to close out with a powerful thought, but let's go ahead and recap what we learned. So you learned that your inner wisdom will allow you to live the most authentic and connected and creative life. And our inner peace, our inner wisdom can get disrupted when it's taken over by our own gremlins. And I'm going to ask you again, what's a dream that you have for yourself? Because here's the thing, you deserve to stand in your light and in your power and to live an authentic life and connect back to your true self. And you do have agency to create the life that you 100% own, right? And the exciting part, and I know it's a little scary, but the mostly exciting part is it's uncharted because you get to create it. And there's only one you, and there's only one life in this body, in this time period, in this space, at this time. And I wish that for every single one of you who dialed in today or who are listening to this recording. So here's a gift that I promised some of you, and it's for those who are ready to take some action on your life goal and your life dream. So I've carved out some time in the next couple of weeks to offer a 90-minute gifted session in April for those of you who want to dig in deeper. So this is really focused in on thinking through and like dreaming up your ideal life and what you want to create for yourself moving forward. Okay. So this is your design your life dream session. So you could copy that link. I know Rachel's going to drop it in the chat right now. Normally this is valued at $750, but it's completely free. It's no charge. It's my way to say thank you for showing up today and showing up for yourself. So I'd love to have some one-on-one time with you if that calls to you. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and end it pretty soon. And I just want to let you all know that I truly believe that as women identified folks, we do long for a life of inner peace. And some of us have grown accustomed or have resided ourselves to lives that may be out of alignment in what we truly deserve. And our gremlins have gotten in the way of pursuing our dreams and have kept us small. And sometimes it has kept us safe from the unknown. And change is scary, and I get it. I've lived it. I continue to live it, right? And when that fear arises, I believe it's there for a reason. And it's there to whisper and sometimes shout out from the rooftops that you want more freedom, that you crave for something different or more or better than what currently is. And here's the thing, this session called you for a reason. So take this as a sign that you are fully capable of living an authentic life by accessing your inner wisdom. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you and hope to see some of you in the one-to-one call. Thanks.
Wow, so incredible. Thank you so much, Annalyn. I know that I am just like bursting with inspiration. I want to give folks, it is, we're coming up on time, but I do want to give folks a second if you had any questions or comments before we close out here. I did put the link in there. I think most of you saw it, tinyurl.com/GIW design your life. What an incredible opportunity for each of us. And as I think back on the week and the arc of experiences that we've had with this virtual colloquium for women in leadership training and development, I see these themes popping up. So this really was a beautiful tie up for it all. We've talked about vulnerability. We've talked about really going for our dreams, creating that the 10 people that you had on your screen, the 10 women, that is so powerful. It's a powerful image for me, to know that I need to, continue to invest in this circle of support. So I just wanted to thank you so much for doing this and just presenting and wrapping it all up for us so well. If anybody has any questions, just pop on. But if not, go ahead and look back up as well. I have 3 links for you right above the tiny URL link we shared about the Leadership Trainer Certification Program's Mastery course and free resources. Again, these are just more tools for you. We hope that this whole week has been beneficial. We'd love to see you at our certification programs. If part of your dream and your future goals for yourself include your professional development as a leadership trainer, taking your skills to the next level, getting a mastery certification for that, then please join us this summer. Check it out. We've got also great scholarship opportunities. This is a nonprofit organization for a reason. We truly want to give back. So with that, I'm going to wrap it all up. The recording will be out next week. We thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you, Annalyn, and we'll close out for the series. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.